And in 2 hours, Chicago's travel quarantine starts. What happens if you return from an affected state and don't stay put for 2 weeks?
Good evening, I'm Dave Savini in for Jim Williams. That travel quarantine starts just after midnight. It affects anyone coming to Chicago from these states, including Chicago residents who travel there and return home. As CBS 2's Stephen Graves explains, it comes as the city becomes a popular spot for travel. Stephen.
Hey Dave, that's right. That is what we have found out. And like you said, at 12:01 tomorrow morning, this goes into effect indefinitely. It's supposed to, of course, aid in the fight against COVID-19, but it also means thousands of people will think twice before traveling. It's not a suggestion, but a rule from Chicago health officials. City residents and visitors coming from 15 states will have to quarantine for 2 weeks. Break it, you could be fined up to $7,000. It comes as Chicago fights to keep COVID-19 cases down, and the city becomes a popular spot. Last week, it was the top listed travel destination.
Texas, Arizona, Florida, great places to go, but that switched. Everyone's moving essentially up north, away from all these hotspots, which is totally understandable given the safety concerns that 9 out of 10 travelers tell us are most important.
Chicago has seen a steady decrease in cases over the past months. Its highest case count came in mid-April. Officials say restricted states like Florida have a case rate greater than 15 new COVID-19 cases per 100,000 resident population. But a quarantine mandate comes with expected enforcement. In places like Hawaii, there's a quarantine enforcement task force. Visitors and residents are screened at airports and then get follow-up phone calls. But Chicago officials telling the public last week they aren't necessarily taking a hands-on approach.
We do not have a plan to, for example, look for out-of-state license plates and pull people over. We do not have a plan to create a list of individuals who are traveling and try to track them down.
And this rule does not apply to people who are just passing through Chicago or, say, getting a connecting flight. And if you didn't see a state on that list, that doesn't mean it couldn't appear later because it gets evaluated about every week. Live here in the Loop, Stephen Graves, CBS 2 News. Dave?
All right, thanks, Stephen.